Hello and welcome back to the Knitting Page podcast. My name's Paige if you're new here, and I'm the host of this channel. I am 24 years old and I am from Canada, close to Kingston, Ontario. So I know it hasn't been that long since I last posted a video, but I did want to sit down today to record because I am leaving for a trip tomorrow. My boyfriend and I are driving up to Thunder Bay to go visit my parents. We are also going to be racing a triathlon, and this is an off-road triathlon, so we'll still swim in a lake, but we will mountain bike and trail run instead of ride on the road and run on the road. So I'm excited to go home. I'm excited to see some friends. I am excited to race. I haven't done a triathlon this year. And the last time I did this, I guess the first time I did this triathlon, it was the first triathlon I had ever did, and I actually wound up winning it. So I haven't specifically been training. That's not the expectation for next weekend, but or this upcoming weekend, but I do think it'll be super fun. And yeah, I'm excited to go race where I've spent a large portion of my life up in Thunder Bay. So we are gonna get started today, and it is a gloomy day outside. It's supposed to torrentially downpour, but so far it hasn't rained yet. But anyways, I just wanted to I wanted to film and put out this podcast because I do have a lot of updates, and I want to try to keep my podcasts on the shorter side where possible. So let's hope that I don't ramble on for forever, and let's get into it. So I have two finished objects for today. The first finished object I am wearing, and I love this top. So this is the Merle tee, and it is a pattern by Luisa, who is knitting.dear on Instagram. It is a super, let me see if I can stand up. It is like a little boxy t-shirt with these nice pearl rows to do contrast stripes, both on the body and on the sleeve. And so this was a test knit for Luisa, and I absolutely love the finished product. This is a top and a style that I would buy from the store, and it's something that I've gravitated towards for my entire life. There's something about nautical stripes that just, they have a special place in my heart. And so when I got chosen for the test call, I literally have no DK, I have no DK yarn in my stash besides a few random single skeins and a few tank top quantities, but that has since changed, which I'll get to in my acquisitions. So I bought this yarn from La Bobinaise. I'm forgetting the yarn that she knits with in her sample, but I knew I wanted to get a plant fiber because I wanted it to be a similar drape because I really like the way that her sample looks on her. And so I ordered Hempathy from La Bobinaise, and it is a hemp, cotton, and modal blend. If you've listened to my previous podcast, you'll have heard me talk about it. The finished product is, it is so, so good. But the process of working with Hempathy was not my favorite, if I'm being 100% honest. And there's going to be a few times throughout this podcast where I'm going to be honest about knitting and about where I'm at. And so I finished this before the test deadline, and I wore it out to my local yarn shop. I got lots of compliments on it, and I know it's going to be a wardrobe repeat, and I think it'll just be something that I reach for all the time. I have some nice navy dress pants that I think will look super cute with this, with a little blazer or a cardigan for when I'm teaching this fall. And yeah, I love it. So I don't think I made any modifications in terms of the pattern. I knitted it up exactly as it was described, but the major, modification that I did make was I knit this in a size 1 when my bust circumference for the recommended ease would be a size 2. And so for this test call, you could apply to multiple different sizes. And so I applied to both size 1 and size 2 because I figured both of them would give a fit that I would be comfortable with. And Luisa was like, hey, can you knit the size 1? And I was like, totally. It's less knitting, and I'm honestly so pleased with the fit now that it's finished. So this has about 2 to 4 centimeters of ease, positive ease on me, depending on what undergarments I'm wearing, and I love it. I've gotten a few questions about the ease on Instagram from me posting some finished object photos, but yeah, I knit it. I followed the pattern to a T, but I did knit a size down from what was recommended. So if you want to knit one yourself and you like the fit of it on me, then I would suggest sizing down. The suggested fit is just a bit more oversized and relaxed, where this kind of reminds me more of like a baby tee, and I love it. I don't know. I know some people like the long short sleeves, like the long t-shirt sleeve length, but I just really love the like cap sleeve kind of baby tee length. So I'm super, super, super happy with this fit, and I expect to see me wear this throughout the years to come. So this is my first finished object and I absolutely love it. Okay, so moving on to my next finished object. This is the Romanticist's Bandana by Meredith Campbell. I mean, I feel like I will be talking about how I'm done knitting with plant fibers, and I do feel done knitting with plant fibers. My hands don't love it anymore. But when I saw this on Emily from High Fiber Knits podcast, I knew that I had to knit one. And so I used yarn that she gifted me to knit it, and I'm so pleased with the result. I think I've worn it almost every single day since I cast it off. I've like dug into my closet to find all of my green tops and bottoms and dresses that match with it, and I love it. I totally agree with her that wearing a kerchief or bandana, whatever you want to call it, when you have big hair in the summer is just so nice to throw on and have your hair tucked away from your face while still having your hair down. I've thrown it on after the shower and let my hair dry with it on. My curls turned really nice, so huge fan. Would definitely suggest knitting this pattern. If you watched my August 321 that came out on Wednesday, you will know that this was one of my patterns, and I totally think everyone should knit one. I will definitely be knitting more in the future, but a great pattern, super quick. I won't go into a crazy amount of detail about it because I talked about it in my 321 video, so you can check that out here. Let's go to my pre-existing whips. Okay, so this is a whip that I showed you on my last podcast, and I had ambitions of finishing it, but I haven't yet. And this is a test knit for May. I do really love this top, but I just haven't loved working with plant fibers. And I finished the body really quickly, but there is just a whole bunch of double knit edging, which is absolutely gorgeous. And I think once the project's done, it will just look so nice and clean and like almost like it's made like a machine made piece. But I'm really close to being done. I did both of the armbands, and now I just have to work the like halter top part of it. And so in my last video, I talked about how the test knit was due the next day, and it has now since been 5 days since the test knit was supposed to be due, 4 or 5 days. And I contacted May and I was like, totally honest. I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it on the deadline. Despite my best ambitions, my hands aren't loving working with this yarn, and the last thing I want to do is like to injure myself. So I've been working at it slowly and steadily since then, and I mean, her response really did warm my heart. She was like, the last thing I want is for this test knit to be a stress. And so I do appreciate that, and it should be done in the next day or so because I really don't have that many more. I really don't have that much more knitting to do. So, but I did just want to be honest with you guys that I think I took on a little more than I could handle. And that's part of the high knitting mojo. Just, sometimes you think you can do it all. I definitely have been knitting on my April cardigan, which I will show you in a moment, because my hands have just been craving that wool. I just have had such a nicer experience with them, but obviously I want to finish what I started and I want to finish the commitments that I made, and I'm just so grateful and gracious that designers are understanding that, you know, life happens. This is almost done. My Barbie top will soon be done to match my Barbie cardigan because I've got a bit of a theme going on with some colors. So I just told you about my April cardigan and I want to show you. Oh, actually, we're going to this one. So speaking of plant fibers, I also have this test knit for Emma from Emms.knits, and I wanted to be on the body, but I realized I made a mistake in the increases and I have been increasing one stitch too late, and so I have just been delaying the inevitable frog of the majority of this top. It's funny, I put it down, and then this past week I was like, I should really start working on it because I just want to get into the round, because I honestly just love mindless stockinette in the round. And then I second guessed myself of whether I was doing the increases right. So then I then looked at the pattern and read the pattern wrong, changed my increases, thinking I had only done a couple rows of the wrong increases, and the back and the front panel are knit the same, so I can just make this my back panel, no one will see it. And then I started increasing the way that I thought it was supposed to be, which was the wrong way, and realized, yeah, that it was wrong. And so I have to frog back till about like here. So, I mean, I haven't worked on it that much because I realized my mistake, but I have to frog this. I have to get going on this. As I mentioned, we're going to be driving to Thunder Bay, and so my plan is to have this as good car knitting. And so I'll hopefully be able to get a good chunk of it done. And then while I'm there in Thunder Bay, I will have a decent amount of free time visiting my family and visiting some friends and just like hanging out and relaxing. So hopefully should finish this one by the deadline. But just have not been loving working with cotton. But I must say that this yarn, I feel like it is the most even tension I have ever achieved with a cotton yarn, and it's just so soft and it looks so clean and crisp compared to some of my cotton pieces and the tension that I've achieved. So very happy with it so far, but definitely just have to pull out the needles. Actually, why don't I do it now? Because I have to frog it. I won't bore you with trying to tink it back, but I will pull out the needle because it needs to be done. Oh my gosh, it is so slow. It's like, don't frog me. It's frogged. I don't have to frog it all the way, but I do have to take it back, and so gotta get going on this one. But I want to finish my April cardigan and my Natsu top before I get to picking this back up, because they're both like so close. And then I know I've just been wanting to work on my April cardigan because it's what my hands are craving. So I know once I have one cotton piece out of the way, and once I finish my April cardigan, I will have two green pieces to work on because I've got a new cast on. Okay, so the star of the show and the whip that has my heart in my hands is the April cardigan. And I honestly forget where this was the last time I showed you. I want to say I hadn't even split for sleeves, but we have since finished the sleeves. We have finished the body, and we are working on the button band. So I will just do a little try on because I don't know, you probably want to see it on. I mean, obviously it's not blocked and it will relax a bit because the swatch relaxed immensely with blocking, and it also got so much softer with washing and blocking, which this is already so soft and fuzzy, so I can't wait to have it as like a finished blocked product, which is why I've just been obsessively knitting on it, because the end was so near. And as I've mentioned in my previous videos, that I was really worried about yarn chickening, but we are not going to yarn chicken, and it makes me so happy. And because so I have like this much of my Germantown left, which is the yarn that I'm shortest on, and I think I had over half a skein left before starting the button band. And so I made I went on Instagram and asked you guys, but then I was like, you know what, we're gonna do it. We are going to do the double knit button band because I just think it looks so freaking clean and beautiful, and just like, oh, it looks so, so good. And I have enough yarn for it. So we are gonna finish the button band. I'm like, hopefully today, but I do have to still pack. But oh my goodness, like, look how cute this is. Like, I don't want to take it off. No, I'll take it off for you guys. Part of me wants to wear it for the whole video, but oh, I'm just so in love with this piece. Like, look at this pink. Oh, look at this button band. Like, oh, okay. And also for the button band, I don't have a pattern with a double knit button band in it yet. But I was like, oh, it just looks, the double knit button band of like the projects on Ravelry, and just like, they just look so clean, so nice. And I had enough yarn for it. So I was like, we're going to do it. We're going to do the double knit button band. And so gotta love PK Petite Knit. She had, for all her videos, she has like little tutorials on how to help you. And so I looked at the Agnet, or at, I think Adnet, iNet, you know the cardigan I'm talking about. And then I also looked at the champagne cardigan just to see like the technique for making the buttonholes, because the one video I found on YouTube was not for buttonholes of like this size. Anyways, this will definitely be a finished object in my next video because I am just obsessed with knitting it. And the one concern I do have is that this top button is like just a little bit on the slant. So whether or not that will be too gapey, I don't know. Now that I have it on and I'm pulling it, I think it should be fine. And I also know that this will grow with blocking, and so I'll get a bit more positive ease than I currently have. And so I don't think it should like pull, you know? Anyways, I can't get over this. It is just so dang cute. And yeah, I'm so happy that I went back into Purling Jays and bought this pink yarn. And so, Joan, I don't know if you watch this, but thank you so, so much for pointing out the POP that is County Vacay Yarns Mohair. Oh, this combo is just to die for. And I can't wait to knit up my Levitate wrap in that bright orange. It's gonna be so good. And yeah, so stay tuned for my fall planning video, or my fall knitting plans video. Yeah. And now for my new cast-ons. So I said I was like, I'm done with test knits. I feel like I don't want to knit with a deadline. And so anyways, I signed up for a test knit. I've literally applied to every single one of Florence's test knits since I've like been on Instagram. Every test call I've seen for her garments I have applied for because they are just so gorgeous. I've talked about it. I love knitting in plain stockinette, so I just love her simple, timeless pieces that she creates. So she recently put out a test call for the Mohair Jacket, I believe is what it's currently called. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. It kind of reminds me of the April cardigan, which I had just been eating up knitting with. But instead of buttons, it has little I-cord ties, and I'm so bad at sewing buttons onto cardigans. I was like, this cardigan is like perfect for me because I wait like months and months and months before I sew on buttons, but maybe I'll be better with the April cardigan. But anyways, I was like, I'm gonna apply for it. It's funny, I was out for a run with my boyfriend and I was like, I applied for one more test knit, but like I never get picked for it, so like don't worry about it. And then I got the email and I was like, yes, I will test knit this. And so once I got the email, the Knitting Loft was having their like summer sale. Anyways, they had a whole bunch of yarn for 40% off, and oh, I couldn't resist. I mean, my wallet was like, are you sure you want to do this? But I was like, yes. And so all the yarn that I got, I have like a clear idea for, or I got one stash quantity of DK weight yarn for a sweater or a cardigan so that I just have it so that I don't have to buy more yarn in the future. And then I also got some yarns to pair with yarns that I already have in my stash, like fingering weights to be held with mohairs. So anyways, I cast on the Mohair Jacket in one yarn that I already had in stash, my Mei.knits, I believe is what it's called, by CaMaRose, and this bright green from the Neighborhood Co, I believe. One second. So I'm knitting the Mohair Jacket in this bright green, which is Neighborhood Fiber Co in the colorway Belair, and this is in 100% organic merino sock yarn. There's no synthetic fiber in it, and anyways, this was on their 40% off sale. Every yarn I got from the Knitting Loft was on sale, and I figured that it would match really closely with my Mei.knits yarn by CaMaRose in this bright green colorway that I bought in the spring when Emily posted about this color being the color of spring. And so I did my bright pink cardigan. I am leaning into all the fun colors. I swatched with this yarn and it's really bright, but I think it's super fun. And I mean, there's still in reality a lot of summer left. It is only August 7th and summer is technically over September 21st, but my hands just want to work with wool. And so I was like, if I knit this in like a bright fun summer color, it's still like summer, but my hands are thanking me for knitting with wool. And so I swatched these, which I don't see the swatch anywhere close, but I have since started, and the color's not 100% accurate because I have a lamp shining on me because it is dark outside. But yeah, just this adorable bright green. I don't know, I think it's super fun, and it's definitely going to be a statement piece. I swatched in these 3 yarns that I had in stash and put a post or a story on Instagram and asked for your guys' opinion. Like, the majority of the votes went to purple, but I figured that like I should knit something this green in 2023 just because like the memories, it's a 2023 color, it's super fun, it's super bright, it's, yeah, a great statement piece. And yeah, I think this is a new cast on, and I know I said I was going to finish what I started, but I couldn't deny the opportunity from Florence. It's just, yeah. And I honestly don't love purling, but I have been enjoying knitting cardigans recently. I don't know, I think like by the time I knit continental, but I purl English, and because if I purl continental, I do it for ribbing, but I don't like doing it all the way across for knitting back and forth in like a cardigan. But I can do English purling without looking, and so it's been like a great project to use while I'm like, I do have a part-time summer research job this summer, and so I like do an hour or 2 of that a day where I have to read and articles and read these like lessons for this math assessment intervention that I'm working on. And yeah, it's the perfect piece to keep my hands busy and keep me focused on what I'm reading. This and the April cardigan, which is why I have been knitting it so quickly. But the stage I was at for some of my other ones, I just have to do a lot more thinking than just knitting back and forth without thinking. So anyways, I'm excited to see this come to life. I haven't worked on it in the past couple of days because I've been prioritizing my other knits, and I will probably pick this up when my hands get sore from knitting the Bacca top, which was that other green top that I showed you just before. But yeah, excited. This is gonna come to Thunder Bay with me, and we'll see how far I get on my car ride home because everything else should be done by then. And I do have one more new cast on. It's a little excavation blanket. I wanted to cast it on. Okay, so this is what it was. I went and bought a whole bunch of bins to organize my yarn with. And so I was looking at my scraps, and I was like, I kind of want to start using my scraps. And I just think the idea of an excavation blanket is so cute. Just having a little like each yarn is its own memory. And so this whole blanket is like just full of memories, both what projects the yarn came from, all the places you wore that project, all the places you knit that project, the place where your yarn came from, the trip you were on when you bought the yarn. Like, yeah, super excited. I am using 4.5 millimeter needles. The pattern does call for fingering weight stuff, but Emily from My Fiber Knits has hers so that it's DK and fingering held double. I don't know what needle size she knits hers on, maybe a 4. I want to go up to 4.5 because I really love worsted weight in the winter, and I have a lot of worsted weight that I'm planning to knit with and that I already have like random little scraps left over for. And so went up to 4.5. I even have like a chunky down here in the white, but I don't know, it's a scrap project. I don't care if it doesn't look like perfectly uniform, that it's not the exact same tension for every single stripe, but this is super fun. I am excited to add to it. I've kind of had to like, been like, whoa, ease her up a little, just because I wanted, I wanted to make sure I could hopefully have enough of my pink left over to add it. So I left it with a relatively few number of stitches on the needle so that even if I had like not a huge length of yarn, I could still add my bright pink into this, but I think I'll have a decent number left. So maybe I'll get a couple rows of pink interspersed into this blanket. But yeah, this is just a new cast on. Obviously it's not like a priority knit. I want to just kind of knit up scraps as they come into the scrap bag. I am planning on doing some like scrappy mittens and things because there's a few projects that have like a full skein left over, and I feel like that would be a lot to add into this blanket. But yeah, just a fun little project that I'm excited to show you guys how it grows over the course of months, years, decades. I don't know, hopefully not decades, but yeah, very happy. Okay, and so quickly going through my acquisitions. And so as mentioned, I put in an order from the Knitting Loft, and everything that I got a sweater quantities of. Okay, so I showed you, I got 3 skeins of this Neighborhood Fiber Co. bright green in the colorway Belair. And I guess I should say this is in their base studio sock. But they also had another green on hand, and this was Chaski by Amano. And this is 60% superwash, 30% cotton, and 10% linen. And so this green is a lot more subtle than this one. And I have 8 balls that I bought of this Mei.knits in this colorway that I thought would... Initially, I was like, maybe I'll knit a cumulus blouse with it, but I'm really excited to not knit a cumulus blouse with it and to hold 2 different yarns with it. And so the Fiber Co. is very bright. This will be a bit softer and more subtle, but I'm thinking I will hold it with mohair, but part of me is also debating about knitting the chain sweater by Nitrina in it. Because I think that the merino and the cotton and linen would make for a nice summer fiber and have it kind of be a nice transitional long sleeve garment. But yeah, I got 3 skeins of this, and I caked one up, which also when I was caking up this yarn, my ball winder broke, and so it looks crazy because I had to wrap the rest of it by hand. But I did go to my local yarn shop, Purling Jays, and buy a new ball winder because, oh man, it was already like halfway done up before my ball winder broke. But yeah, I was like, I just bought a whole bunch of skeins and I don't want to wind all of that up by hand, so it was worth it to go buy a new one. And the new one has been good to me so far. My yarn has not gotten stuck, which was an issue with my old one. But anyways, yeah, that's a new acquisition. Okay, I also got 13 balls of this Krea Deluxe organic wool 2, which is like a DK light worsted weight in this like beautiful gray blue like color, which this is like my all-time favorite color to wear. So when I saw that they had a sweaters quantity in their clearance section for 40% off, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna knit with it, but I know I'm going to knit something that I love with it. So picked up 13 balls of these to knit some sort of sweater this upcoming fall or winter. I don't know, I love it. So very happy with this color, with this yarn. It seems super soft for an 100% wool, so I haven't swatched with it or anything, but very excited to have this in my stash. This yarn is the Knitting Loft's cashmere sock base, and it has a fun name. Oh, it's called La-Di-Da, La-Di-Da. And this is in the colorway Forget Me Not, which is this gorgeous purple. And I have 5 balls of Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the colorway Unicorn Purple. Yes, Unicorn Purple. And so I thought these would look super cute together, and they do. I mean, look at the swatch. But I didn't want to knit the Mohair Jacket in this just because, I don't know, I thought the green would be super fun for summer, and I've knit a lot of purple recently, and it is the mix of this, which their La-Ti-Da mix is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon, and the combination of these two is so soft. And so I thought it could be really great for a like wrap cardigan or something like that I could wear next to skin, because it is so soft. So I'm holding out on using this one for a future date, but I got 3 skeins of this as well and love the combo, but holding out for a garment that I think I could wear, like not as a sweater, I could wear it with just like as a top, because it is, as I mentioned, so soft. So and I did get one more yarn, and that is or I'm not gonna be able to say this right, but I'm gonna really try. But it's 100% organic wool, 100% organic wool from CaMaRose, and it is the Økologisk Høvedsguld. Økologisk Høvedsguld. Again, I have no idea if I pronounced that right. This was supposedly a sport weight yarn, but to me it's more of a DK because it gets 20 to 22 stitches per 10 centimeters on like a 3 to 4 millimeter yarn, but it is double plied, and there's a lot of yarn per 50 grams. There's 150 meters per 50 grams. So I guess that's where the sport weight is coming in, but it appears to knit up at a larger gauge than like your traditional sport weight. And so I think I got 10 or 12 balls of this, which is in this nice like greeny blue. Again, like I feel like it's a color that is something that I gravitate towards more traditionally than like the brightness that I have been going for. And so it feels a bit more moody, a bit more fall. And so I also just got a sweater quantities of this so that I can have it in stash. And I wasn't sure if I was going to knit the mohair cardigan in like a mohair, if I was going to just hold one yarn single, but the green spoke to me, and I'm very happy with that choice. But I'll have this in stash to knit up a different sweater, cardigan, apply for a test knit at a later date. Really love the color, and it was like $5 a skein, and so that was really hard to pass up. I don't know when. I think I got 50 balls because I think it was just over $50 for 10 balls in a sweater's quantity, which is 1,500 meters. So I don't know when I'd be able to get like a sweater of 100% wool for $50. So I figured that cry now, but enjoy it later. So that is all that I have for you today. I still talked a lot because I don't know, I like to talk, and I honestly have just been loving posting to YouTube. I love when you guys comment. I love when you guys like there's been a few of you that like tag me on Instagram or message me, and it honestly, every single time someone interacts with what I post, it makes me so happy. And so if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for your support. And if you are new here and you are still tuning in at the very end, thank you so much. And if you want, you can hit that subscribe button so you can follow along and see what my yarns turn into, see how I do in the triathlon. And till next time, I will see you guys. So take care, stay well, and happy knitting, crafting, and just enjoying the rest that summer has to offer. See ya.